Hello everybody, welcome back to the Sword and Shield video. Today we're talking about the two most powerful fossils we have probably ever seen, Dracovish and Dracozolt. They're just incredibly powerful. I decided why not talk about them. The common question that has been asked, specifically this week alone, since I think people are now slowly starting to pick up on other fossil existences, since Dracovish is just so popular. I think other people are starting to catch up on the wave now of everything else that's just better. It's just out there, it's just slipped on. Who is the best between the two? You may obviously know the answer, and it may be obvious to you, but what you fail to understand is something obvious to you isn't always obvious to everybody else. That's a deep quote. Put that in your yearbook. Graduate with that. If you guys are loving videos like these, make sure to hit that like button down below if you want to see more videos like these, guys. Subscribe for more content. We're just gonna get into it and my own thoughts on who is better between Dracovish and Dracozolt. I'm not talking about the other fossils. I'm just not. All right. I'm not. We're not discussing them. All right. One of them is water ice type. We're not discussing it. All right. Dracovish, obviously the more popular of all the four, or all the all the four total, he's the most popular one. He is off rip. I predicted that he was going to be the best one when I saw his typing only, because it's water dragon. You are barely weak to anything when it comes to water dragon. You're barely weak to it. You know, you have so many neutralities, a couple of resistances, you know what I mean? I think it only is weak to dragon and fairy. I'm talking about the typing chart is right here. He's only weak to dragon and fairy. He resists steel, quad resists fire, and he specifically is immune to water. But we're doing strong jaw, so he quad resists water. Like, obviously, you're not going to want to run Sand Rush. I mean, that could be interesting, actually. But you lose power, but you have that priority access. You know what I mean? Like, is it worth it, though? Is it worth it? I mean, overall, this guy's got a pretty good typing chart. Probably the best typing out of all the fossils. Water Dragon is always a phenomenal typing. You have two weaknesses. Everything across the board you are neutral to. Two quad resistances and resistant as well. I think being quad resistant to water is pretty good, as well as resisting steel type is pretty good. You know, a few common typings there. You look at the threats that are also running around as well too. You got some water threats running around. Another Dracovish. You know what I mean? Potential Gyarados, but Gyarados is a different breed because you just Airstream or overgrowth. But you can't Geyser you. Even some things like Dreadnought, pretty good against that. Dynamax Dreadnought. So this guy's a beast, man. This guy makes it look like Dynamax mons are literally nothing, because his stats on paper may not look like, oh my god, how is he broken? He has 505 base total stats. He's got a pretty good coverage of stat pool. You know, all of his stats are pretty well rounded. He's got 90 HP, which is amazing. 90 attack, which is not bad. 100 defense makes him tankier than he should be. 70 special attack. Nobody actually cares about that stat, but I feel like somebody out there is going to do something unique with this guy, with special attack, and it's just going to all catch us off guard. It is all just going to catch us off guard. There's 80 per def, which is, for his typing combination with that 90 HP, is not bad at all. And 75 speed, which it could be better, but in a tier where power creep has been ripped out from the balls, I don't think 75 speed is the world's worst thing in Generation 8 Sword and Shield meta, since a ton of fast mons, ton of that power creep is gone. Plus, it really only matters if this guy necessarily outspeeds walls. Like, yes, it'd be nice if he outsped everything in the game, but it's really mainly important that he outspeeds walls, because there is no wall in the game that is going to be appreciating a hit from this guy. I think the best thing that probably takes a hit from this guy is Ferrothorn, not in rain, but just put up the rain. He can one-shot Toxapex. So that's crazy. That's actually crazy. Adamant, Banded, Strongjaw, Vicious Rend in the rain can one-shot a Toxapex, because at that point, the base power move of Vicious Rend, if you guys don't know what that move does, we're just scroll down here and show you. Vicious Rend is a move that's really honestly just boosting this guy. Like, the modifiers are just, they're going skyrocketing. This guy's a Vicious Rend machine. That's the interesting thing between the two, is their machines toward their stab typings and their brand new moves. Vicious Rend and Bolt Peak. Vicious Rend, if you guys don't know what it does here, it does double the damage when the move goes first. So it's just, dog, it's just insane. So It goes from a base 85 move alone to a base 170 move. That is not including a choice band boost. That is not including a stab boost. That is not including a rain boost. That is not including a priority boost. That is not including a super effective boost. There are so many modifiers that go behind both of these fossils. So many modifiers behind it. Like, just to go over all it all again, he has a priority boost with Vicious Rend if it goes first. He has the weather boost. He has a stab boost, obviously, of course. He has a super effective boost if you have that. Dude is just... He has an item boost because you could mainly run choice band. I've seen people do like Mystic Water. I'm like, what are you doing? Or I've seen people do like Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf isn't too bad either. You lose some power out on that, but you gain that priority. And you also lose out on... I've seen people run Life Orb because they want people to change their moves. I mean, you really don't, though, with these guys. You really don't want to change your moves. They're just busted at what they do. If you want a hard-hitting water type, he's your guy because he pumps so much damage into everything in the metagame. First off, there is no offensive mon that takes a hit from this guy. They just all fall. I have watched this thing with no rain. One shot a Dynamax T-Tar. Like, that's 808 HP. The damage he puts out is actually crazy. He could one-shot a Toxapex in the rain, guys. I think Vicious Rend, with all the modifiers in there, is like a base 575, 578. So it's almost 600 base for that move alone. And the power he could dish out. It's crazy. It's crazy. Base power almost 600 on Vicious Rend. He's just... Dude's a different breed. He, surprisingly enough, learned some decent moves. His TMs aren't that great. I think it's Ice Fang, which is interesting. Strong Jab Boost. He gets some strong Jab Boost off Crunch, Vicious Rend, Ice Fang, a couple stuff like that. You know what I mean? Our dude gets a couple dark moves as well, too. Super Fang could be interesting for VGC. Not sure yet. Maybe to catch people off guard. I don't know. Everybody runs this guy standard because he does so well at his job. They run like Vicious Rend, Crunch, Psychic Fangs, and then run Dragon Claw or Outrage. You know what I mean? But... he can stop your Tantrum, Bulldoze, a couple of interesting moves like that to be, you know, pretty decent in BGC. My dude gets Leech Life, so that's interesting. He definitely does get Leech Life, but Leech Life is a good move now, thanks to Generation 7, so that's awesome. He gets Liquidation. You honestly don't want to run Liquidation, Waterfall. No other water move matters but Vicious Rend. He gets an headbutt, but that doesn't get the boost like Psychic Fangs does, so... the only reason you'd run that is to flinch, which I even still think Psychic Fangs with the Fang move, it has the chance to flinch, does it not? All the Ice Fang? No, it does not. So it breaks both screens, and you get a boost off it. So it's a dope move. I think one of the first ones I saw using it was Bruxish, something like that. I'm pretty sure it was Bruxish or Brucish, whatever you say his name. But you don't even want to run them if you want to get the flinch, which even then, just stop. What are you doing? Some people run low kick as well too for things like Tyranitar, heavy things, you know what I mean? So even, you know, G-Max Snorlax, but it's really interesting. Like, he gets a decent amount of moves, especially with TRs. When he gets Earth Powers on Headbutt, Iron Head, Stone Edge, Psychic Fangs, Liquidation, Leech Life, EQ, low kick, you know what I mean? He's got a decent move pool. It's not anything extremely diverse, but it's enough. You know what I mean? It's enough. If they gave this guy things like Fire Fang or whatever it is, then Ferrothorn would probably be out the water. But it doesn't matter because you can just put up the rain and just Vicious Rend and just start dumping damage. Like, I'm pretty sure 2 to 3 shots Ferrothorn in the rain. Alone. In the rain. Alone. I think it has like 33% in the rain. So with good rolls, you have a chance of 3-shotting that mon. So that's the reality we live in. He also can one-shot Toxapex. Did you guys mention me hearing that? If you guys don't know, Toxapex is one of the best walls in the game right now. And he can just one-shot it. Just flat out. just flat out. I don't think Toxapex will ever really know a solid, clean meta. Toxapex is always the deal with Dynamax, which is essentially better Z moves and then Z moves. So no sympathy for Toxapex at all. But this guy's crazy good. Obviously, if you haven't heard me jerking him off, this guy's crazy good. On to Dracozolt now. Dracozolt, which I personally believe is one of the most slept on mons in the game. I think it's OU, obviously, just like Dracovish, so they're both in the same viability tier, and they both pump out a lot of damage. Here's the interesting thing about this, a lot of people don't know, is that Dracozolt off stats alone does actually hit harder. Hustle, you can improvise that The same way for Strong Jaw. As you can see, Strong Jaw does biting move at 50%. Versus Hustle, just boosting attack. It just boosts your overall attack by 50%. But it's reducing your accuracy of all physical moves, by the way, by 20%. In case some people didn't know that, some people only think that it reduces all moves by accuracy of 20%. No, it's just reducing the accuracy of physical moves only by 20%. So I think a lot of people did not know that. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting to say the least. But he gets Hustle, which it's 50%. So it's both of them 50%. Vicious Rend gets the boost off of Strong Jaw. And obviously, of course, Bolt Beak is a physical move. So it gets the boost off of Hustle. So they have the exact same modifier when it comes to their ability, right? But the thing about Dracozolt is he has higher attack stat. So in theory, if Dracovish in the rain with Strongjaw Choice Band going first, let's say hits a fire type like, let's say Center Scorch or even Rhyperior, that's quad, without Solid Rock, versus Bolt Beak hitting Bolt Beak with a band that's also with Hustle, it's in the electric terrain that's going first, hitting say something ×4 as well, like a Gyarados, with no Intimidate. This guy is just hitting harder. He genuinely is because of that. We could do the math, but he is off the stat alone of that 100 attack stat versus a 90. But it's interesting because he has the 100 in his attack versus he has the 100 in his defense. I'd assume it's the head. I mean, this head looks tanky, does it not? And then this guy just looks like, I guess he'd be a little less tankier up in the frontal part because everything abdomen up is like just a skinny little raptor, which I'm curious to know how their bodies looked like when they weren't improperly fused, but I'm sure we'll never get to know. But you can see base 80's Pedef as well too, base 70. So Dracozolt is the more offensive of the two because his stats are just higher on the offensive side versus Dracovish. But here's the unfortunate part to really deem that point away of Dracozolt actually hitting harder is the fact that Water overall is better offensively than defensively, with Water or with Electric moves. Because Electric moves, they're either you can wall back ground type, you're not hitting much on the super effective side. Like Water does more on the super effective side. Even on the neutrality side, it's also just overall better. You know what I mean? Like it's better to go for Water coverage. I mean, even rain teams are just better overall than, let's say, an electric terrain team right now with like Pincurchin, Halucha, and Dracozolt. You know what I mean? Versus Dracovish with like Gyarados, Barraskewda, Crawdon. You know what I mean? A couple things like that. Toad, like Toad. You know, but so they both get both a stat modifier move, Voltazor, Water Absorb, and then Sand Rush. So they're very similar in their own thing. But it looks like Electric Dragon is a lot better here than Water Dragon. As you guys can see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resistances, one of them being quad, but you lose a bunch out on neutralities and you have 4 weaknesses. So the price to pay for 6 resistances, one of them being quad, and now being weak to instead of 2 moves, 4 moves, I think it's a better trade, IMO, but at the same time as well, too, you look at the things that he's relatively weak to. Ground is going to be very unfortunate. There's a lot of big threat ground types going on there right now. And a bunch of mons get like EQ, Stopping Tantrum, higher horsepower. A bunch of mons get moves like those. So that's going to be unfortunate to this guy. Ice isn't really too scary, but there are Manitans out there. You know what I mean? So assume an Ice Cube, be on the lookout. You got Dragon, which is obvious. But the only real Dragon types that are really out there right now, if not these 2 fossils, is Dragapult. There aren't really much dragons out there right now. You know, we lost a lot at the price of what? You know what I mean? At the price of these fossils just booling out. Fairy, there are some scary fairy types out there, but at the same time as well, like, just one-shot Clefable. You know what I mean? Just honestly one-shot. There are things like Hatterene, which you outspeed, and you could body as well, too. You could Togekiss outspeeds you, but, I mean, just take a hit and one-shot it, you know what I mean? Just take a hit and one-shot it. So, I don't know. It's very iffy. IMO, at the end of the day, I still think, defensive-wise, obviously, of course, you could see Dracozolt is better but offensive-wise, it looks like Dracovish is better, if you guys are trying to get what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he has 2 resistances, but they're not anything to scoff at because they're both quad resistances, and the other one is steel, which is still pretty good, versus him resisting things like flying, which is pretty good now because of max airstream, which is super viable, max overgrowth as well, so resisting grass is still pretty good. Resisting water is always a plus. You never lose anything resisting water. It's so good because it diminishes scald. Just avoid a burn. And fire, nobody cares about. They're not really running out there like that, you know what I mean? They are now, though. With max flare, they are now, though. Be on the lookout for that. And steel's also really good resistance. So defensive-wise, Dracozolt is better typing coverage when it comes defensively to be able to soak up all those hits more. While he does have less defensive stats, that HP set is still the exact same. So imagine the HP stat the exact same with a little less bulk, but the trade-off is that you resist a lot more and you still have that exact same HP stat, so it's not too bad. But offensive-wise, of course, it's like Dracovish, while he doesn't hit as hard, he still hits crazy hard. Not to mention as well that just water offensively is just so much better. Just so much better. You know what I mean? It's also one of the things as well, too, where he only hits 10 points. He has 10 points higher than his attack stat. So the gap between them doing damage really isn't that massive. But when you want to get it off consistently as well, too, like another con with Dracozolt is that he's always missing his moves, or you have a much likelier chance. There's a 20% chance of added on to already you missing a potential. Like, it's crazy, dude. You never have a move that's 100% accuracy. You just don't. You just don't. It's really convenient if you can run blunder policy on this guy, because if you miss your move, you can double the speed stat after that, and then you outspeed everybody, and then your modifier with a hustle and bolt beak. It's just so insane. I feel like if this guy, I feel like if this guy maybe didn't have hustle and he had another, like, let's say he had like pure power, something crazy that also boosts your attack stat by like 50%, that would be crazy because he has a chance to miss. And then we'd be in a different terrain because it'd be no question then this guy would just be cracked. But the fact that one is a water type, one is the electric type, is unfortunate. You know, water is just better. So that's a shame, but, you know, this guy's going to be able to take it a little better because, you know, he's got so much more resistance, you can see. He learns a lot of interesting moves as well, too. He gets Air Lace, so if you want to Dynamax, you do get Airstream on that. I don't know if Dracovish actually got a flying move or not, and as you can see, he does not. You don't want this thing getting Airstream, you don't. So that's another big plus on Dracozolt is when he Dynamaxes, he will be able to get that off that speed boost with Airstream. My dude also gets, you know, max whirlwind, dragon moves, obviously, of course. He can put up the terrain with any of his max electric moves, so that's convenient. They essentially all do that for their terrain users or their standard typing, you know what I mean, depending on what move you go for. My dude gets, interesting enough, some fire moves. He gets Fire Fang, Fire Spin, Sunny Day. I mean, Sunday could be interesting. Weather moves could be interesting, but Fire Spin, I don't really know too much. I mean, he gets T-Wave, so already pretty much enough interesting moves. He gets Break and Swipe. It is a brand new move that came out within Generation 8, and it's really convenient because it hits both sides while also lowering the attack. So that's very interesting. I can see it as being a lot more viable in VGC rather than singles, because you'd want to just run Dragon Claw. You'd want to run Outrage, you know? My dude gets moves, though. He also gets similar ground moves. My dude gets Flamethrower, though, pretty interesting. He gets Iron Tail instead of Iron Head. It's almost like they want this guy to keep missing, dude. They give him Fire Blast, Iron Tail, Dragon Rush, high horsepower. I think Dracovish got Stomping Tan. He doesn't even get high horsepower. He gets EQ instead. Obviously, this one does too, but I guess for the gimmick-wise, if you want to be able to run some moves that miss, to raise the chances of your Blunder Policy activating and getting that off, that could be interesting. It definitely could be, but it's tough. It's tough. So when it comes to move pool, I want to say they're pretty even as well, too. I think the only thing that's really kind of like boosting up Dracozolt over Dracovish is that the fact that he gets flying moves, and those flying moves can be interesting for him, being accessible to Airstream and Blunder Policy. This guy alone, Dracozolt, has a much likelier chance of boosting his own speed stat than Dracovish ever will, which is really convenient because that actually just boosts up your modifier in a way, or you have a boost up a likelier chance to get your modifier off, you know, much more common because of that Airstream. You can be faster than everybody in the game, and you will always be able to get off that priority move that it will almost become priority at some point with you just being so fast, outspeeding everybody in the game. Obviously, Sucker Punch, Mach Punch, priority moves are still beating you, but you're going to be able to outspeed almost everybody in the meta game, and you're just going to be able to get off all your moves. But the con to it is that you're missing. And that's why, at the end of the day, when it comes to the two guys, I think Dracovish is still the better Pokemon. Dracozolt does have better resistances. Dracozolt does get some better moves. I think being accessible to max airstream is really, really, really good, especially when it comes to your move going first. So he's finding that guaranteed way to get your speed boost off. The unfortunate part about Dracovish is he doesn't have access to any of that. I mean, high key, it's good. If he did have access to any of that, this dude would be cracked because people would they'd be banded, Dynamax turn 1, go for Airstream, go for Knuckle, get unbanded, and then if you do that, like if you Dynamax before you're locked into anything, you can choose what you want to lock yourself into, Vicious Friend everything in the game. He'd be a different breed. Maybe Game Freak was aware of that and they didn't want that to become reality, but that's really good. It also is now really hitting me even more as time goes by, guys, that Hidden Power would break this game because everybody is accessible to every single max move ever because Hidden Power can become any typing. So if we had Hidden Power flying on a Dracovish, look, man, I don't know, man. That'd be vicious, but look. See what I did there? But Dracovish overall is still the better of the two. He's more consistent. Consistency really is powerful in itself, especially with Rain. Rain is just more reliable than electric terrain. Like the cons and pros to it, like you can never go to sleep in electric terrain, but at the same time as well too, with Rain alone, he's just resisting fire moves even more. I guess water moves may do a tiny bit more damage, but it doesn't matter because he quad resists. My dude just gets stronger in the Rain and he resists fire even more, so that's a plus, right? Not to mention as well, once he gets that boost in Rain, he's able to one-shot his walls. The thing about Dracozolt being so inconsistent as he is, minus 20% with that accuracy, it's really gonna hurt him. I've lost games clicking Bolt Beak on Gyarados or Togekisses, and they set up on me, and they spam do it because I keep missing. So at the end of the day, guys, Dracovish is definitely better offensively. I think defensively, Dracozolt is better because he's chewing moves better than Dracovish because of the typing he has. He's resistant to like, what, 6 moves, one of them being quad. So that in itself is definitely interesting. Like, while that ground weakness does hurt him a lot, it's the price you gotta pay for being an electric type. It really is the price you gotta pay, man. It's unfortunate. But end of the day, like I said, guys, Dracovish still the better mon. He is more consistent. He is more powerful. You don't need to think when you use this mon. With Dracozolt, you still gotta think because you could miss your move. You gotta plan ahead. Dracovish, you literally never need to think. Unless you're running a Water Absorb mon or Stormy Drain mon, like Gastrodon or Toad, just spam Vicious Friend. You lose nothing. It takes 0 skill to use this mon. Sorry, 0 strategy. There's no skill in Pokemon games. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below. Let me know who you think is best. I'm going to give it a Dracovish in this one. Let me know who you want to see next in videos like these guys. And of course, if you want to see more, hit that like button down below for me. I've done a ton of videos like this with the starters, Eternatus and Giratina, Zashi and Zamazenta. I'll leave them all in the video. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.